maybe 200 years from now. The wars in Israel by Yesu is overland. Abenensu balwira fena menshi ya mu Sea of Galilee. If you are in Israel, water. Amenshi fe yali amenshi mwe bantu bakwalesa yo tulemo na mudu wapula. Amenshi abantu baleila kunkondo. If you go up Egypt, you talk about Sudan, Egypt, and the countries around the lake, the sea, the river Nile. Abenensu balelwira amenshi. No mbomuntu aisa nafuala na suti ya bulo kuchisa ati naisa ngusende mpanga au mwandi imechali mpelo obulanda. Even last week I spoke, and I hope that's not why the police are calling me out again. But my issue is that anyone who thinks that this land is for sale is not worth being a leader. Is not worth being a leader, must be taken out, because balefo kushitisha impanga if you bashitisha mamaini ngamwamona mopani na basenda na bapera abanenso abafuma ku Arab land uku babapera babula naba ku South Africa babapera. Then if it we kelefi, the question that I'm asking us as Zambians, did God create a country called Zambia and then say Zambians are going to be perpetual workers? Pantu tuayambira kali okubomba tatulayamba okupanga umukuba muno mu Zambia. Abena Zambia bale ya kujubega ati wenera. Zambians have always been workers. Baisa panga mamaini ati rone antre opusha na shani Zambiani nikabomba kengira wapa maini kali aledi ya chimpompo. Tetibiashi baba na chimpompo chinshi. Chimpompo is a mixture of flour na molasses. Bale panga bread babula filia fishara kuli sugar kumuna kambala filia bachita mix na flour ele bapanga chi bread cha kosa kampompo shimaini ngalia pantu muri fi molasses file kupera energy mwali mona molasses nangu wapele ngombe shira temwa sana shira dia shire kuta so bale bula filia fi molasses bachita mix muri flour ele bapanga bread ati kampompo shimaini aya panshi aya ikala 12 hours alefuma awe bachimpera kampompo naba nati badadi baleta kampompo per month and nitiki 3 no progress mulekala mumayanda kwatima hostels kujubegi kwa abantu balekala mutuma hostels umuna Africa tete asende omukachikulia kwati bana be school. So the question that I'm asking our leaders in Africa, are Africans going to continue to be perpetual workers? We have resources here. Kuno kumwesu kuno nachiba kuli batata ba mamumba ati Subia itiri for 10 kilometers from there. Now what stops a reasonable leader in our land from going to batata chifu mabumba kutirati pangeni cooperative na abantu benu mwamona baba pele mining license ngaba pele yo mining license then awene baleti ba investor inenda ndati ba investor bantu bali afya kwati ni mpenzi kwati fipu awene ba fipu baleti ba investor ngabaisa baikala pamona abekala chalo ba chifu iseni pano batata ba mabumba ba mwine mushi iseni pano ba kansela iseni pano ba MP iseni pano ba government iseni pano ifa kuno kumwesu na tukwata suglight tupeni nangu 50%. Maybe it's even too high. Just give us 20%. Na tukwata license. The land is the cash. Echo na wale nebereti ba vietevete takwa tena nguwano ngweba alefi wano kulipira rent kulusaka ewingesa sende mpanga ya kulefi na tumwewa tulefe okuli omupunga ifo tulalia kalundwe tulalia na male tulalia ifo na mataba tulalia na kandolo tulalia chimbwali ifwe rice uluchelo nga twalia ni breakfast. Abana abengi balanda tinshiradia. So if you land if you kutirati ababantu bayishireshani, they had a green light from government. That's why the ministers were here. That's why ZDA was here. Minister Tete afume mulusaka Ngaba president tabeshibokwaleya. They have to get permission to get out of Lusaka. So how did the minister for the province go to that meeting? It means that the president knew what was happening. So this project had the blessing of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, the President Hakainde Sami Hichilema. So he is the one who has to make the explanations. I'm not the one to make explanation here. But it's very disappointing that umuntu ichikopo aisa na 3 pages ati subject to explanation summary for project. Where's the project? Where's the project? Where's the project? Kuti walala ndati it will bring him employment. Ba president ba Hakainde tulelomba okutira ati former Zambians tatulefo kubama workers. We want to be the investors. And what we have ourselves is the land. If we get exploration licenses for the people, the communities, then those exploration licenses are cash enough for them to partner with proper investors, not conmen like this person. Kumpika efi chitike nifi. Kwa batata baluchembe. Ndiye ishwa na mwishwa. Aba icho balisanga kwati ati green tomarine. Green tomarine. Vaya kuri batata baluchembe ati batata. Ifana mono tuntu turebe ko twa green tu. Tie ntumone vaya checkinga ku university basanga ati ni green tomarine. So abakashana n'abalumendo bali kala pansha ati batata tupeni ko 50 hectares. Tuye tubule exploration license and small scale mining license for this. Bali ya kulusaka bayafika ku Ministry of Mines uko balanda ku cadastro ba kwaboko. Bali ya bebo okutira ati mwe na mpika imwe mwe na kanchibia imwe. Na muna kanchibia ili included mulisi. So it includes the gold in kanchibia. It's overlapping. So bali ya bebo okutira tawe tetumipele i license. Kabie nikuli bali abapela large scale exploration license baye bamisuminishe inene mubisa inene mwina mwanga inde yakuli mwenye uwa ku Canada ewonjela ndati mpela ko permission mwantu munjerereko. You know, in Zambia we have no discrimination. We have Zambians from Europe, from where we live as a community. But what I detest, nga wanjera ati kabiye kuli ba mwishikulu go brown, they have in chinsadi kabiye upoke permission pantu eba kweto concession. I have no issue because they are my relatives. Nga walamba ati kabiye kukatete uye poka license from your relatives who are in Katete. I have no issues, but I have issues to go to a Canadian of Asian origin to go and beg for a concession when I am supposed to be given that concession by Chief Luchembe, Chief Mabumba, Chief Mibenge. No, what we want from UPND, they should stop this nonsense. They've given away the mines to foreigners from wherever for free. But no, pantu fitala kwatemi amendo ayataringa ineyo. Awe, this Dubai company, what, they've brought money. Last week, the Minister of Finance went to Parliament and says, I'm asking for supplementary budget to pay Glenco. Ababantu tapali chisumecho bemini nepo na ngufe wale tuita kuma polisi twakulala ndefefi ne bakula tukakanga bale fwaya but kukafa bammo bambi bakashala. This document from these people is as useless as toilet paper. Tapali na ngumo wa mkamfulumendo ukwete amano who should even have entertained this. So this should be a closed subject. Okay. Pantu kunta shuko tuleya bala ba UPND bala ikala po 5 years nga bafuma po basha batuchitira mortgage chalo efi tukabamu bwafya. It's very difficult to get back land from people who have been given 99 years lease because the laws in this country are very specific. You can nationalize in national interest, but when you acquire property which is in private hands, you have to compensate. No mbaifwe fwe bena ngumbo fwe bena lunga mwebo tukapoke impanga munshilanshi tukafaya kwisenda lama shakushita compensate aba bantu bale fo kupera bekate chichalo ekutila bashamfumu ibeso palya bekere na popene palya na popene na abasenda, because they are not describing that this is a chiefdom. They are saying from Kanchibia to the Ruapula. Chief palaces.
Okay. There's a growing fear from the community, especially the people in Wapula province, that now that they refused investment as a group, there's probably targeted interference to make chiefs individually sign up to that proposal. What would be a word to the people and obviously the traditional leaders in the province?
My brother, tapari proposal. Me have been Minister of Finance. Me milanga pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. This is called Vietnam over what? Diversified Development Corporation Limited Project Summary. Tualikuwa tama summary yaka fiwe goji ma volume. This project 72 billion. It's not a project, it's a scam. This is a scam. If you've heard of a scam, this is what a scam looks like. Summary. 1, 2, 3. Kuti walemba indala meshona ndila kuti tuambo kwanshika pamise wakufuma kuna kondo kuyafika ku Livingstone kubwera twayafika ku Western Province twayafika ku Senanga na ku Sikongo. And what is in this? What is in this? Bashamfumu tapali winga saina eka. And so my suggestion is that all the chiefs must sit with the President of the Republic of Zambia and tell him that this is customary land and he has no business to deal in customary land. The laws are very clear. If the state wants to acquire customary land, they go to the chief, then there's consent. There's agreement that the chief will cede this land to the state for state use. They have not done that. So, if a chief signs with a foreigner, the chiefs are only allowed to sign 250 hectares. Apabala and 6 million hectares, the only one who has power to sign over to a private person title for more than 260 hectares is the President of Zambia. So all of us, you and I, will hold President Hakainde to account if this scam goes through. I want to be very clear. This is not a scheming by the government officials. This is authorized by cabinet and by state house. State warandati kuli among investors then wazedie wambo kula tola wakati niwa kwindi all over the place. It's authorized by the government because you can see by the arrival of government officials, tuwalimona kuliba DC, kuliba minister, kuliba ni, kuliba OP. It was a whole government trying to push this. So they can't do that without the express permission of the president. He can't even say he didn't know about it. Because first you give the president a brief that there's this investor who is coming. And you see, sir, he's looking for land from their royal highnesses. And before they are cleared, they go. I want you to know that there was a project in Akonde called Kaidi Biomass. They had wanted to put up a power generating station from biodiesel. They wanted to have access for a nursery for planting exotic trees for using in the generation of, for making biodiesel. And they wanted 2,000 hectares. That project was started by late President Rupia Banda, and President Sata took over it. What they had proposed was $450 million. $10 million for Isoka, over and above the 450. They proposed that $10 million will go to the community for building technical schools in the area, and the clinics and the workshops. $10 million to Nakonde. But the project was going to cover 20,000 hectares in both chiefdoms. That means 10,000 in Chieftainess Waitwika, 10,000 in Chieftainess Katiete's area. Now, the only land which they needed on title was 2,000 hectares out of the 20,000. And how were they going to do it? The way they had packaged the project was that if you are in a village, you are not going to be moved. They will come to you and say, what do you want to grow? Do you want to grow cassava? Do you want to grow sugarcane? Because those were some of the crops which they needed to use for making biodiesel. And then, depending on where you are, they will build your house. They will then give you equipment for you to be in the project. So the whole area would have had workshops, then as communal centers. And the people in the project would also have had money to build and improve their homesteads. So, I mean, that's a good project. Then, out of the whole project, they were going to generate about 100 megawatts of power from the waste in the biodiesel. And the people in the project, meaning the two chiefdoms, because this was going to be done as a community project, they suggested that 20% of the shares, not cash, 20% of the electricity, 20% of the biodiesel would be given to the community. So whenever you send 100 megawatts, 20% of that megawatts in cash terms will be part of the community. I thought it was a very good project. But when the project went to cabinet, then the cabinet said, I was in opposition. Late President Michael Sata sent me to Nakonde and Isoka to talk to the chiefs together with these investors. When the project came back to cabinet, the issue that was raised is that they want 20 hectares. 20,000. 2,000 hectares on title. But they want to cover 18,000 hectares in the project. What if in future they say they want 4,000 hectares? And that's how the project died, because President Michael Sata didn't want to alienate more than 2,000 hectares. He says, if the project grows, how are we going to deal with it? And the issue was that governments fall because of land. And it's very clear, wakata people's land, you fall. Because soil, air, and water are the three elements in nature. And God says, when you have soil, you can grow fruit, eat the fruit, use the leaves for your medicine. And when you look at olive oil, the holy oil, the olives grow on soil, they use water, they use air. So land and soil is extremely important to the survival of the human race. And when God divided the world, he apportioned a portion to each one of us. Even in the Bible, the 12 tribes, each were given their own land. When you read the Bible, they will tell you, this king died and was buried on the land bought by the ancestors. It's very clear. I cannot go to England and be buried there. I mean, they will cremate me. I can't die in India and they give me a burial site. Maybe they will cremate me. I can only be buried here. Because that's my birthright. So this is a scam, and I don't think it's even worth discussing it anymore. Bashamfumuku wera fyatawo na mubomba pakukane imbira ya bupondo, because it's not making sense at 72 billion, then there will be 300,000 jobs created. I mean, all you need to do, 300,000 hectares nishi muno mumishi abantu ni tuwabanga. In Luapula province, how many are we? We are more than 300,000. And I don't fear. We can do a lot of things. We can do fish farming. We can do a lot of things. We have planes. We can do rice. Tulalima rice, kuno. Tulalima rice. Now he says Zambia should be the largest center for rice export. No, I want Luapula province to be the largest exporter of starch from cassava. I want my province to be the largest exporter of fish. I want Luapula province to be the largest exporter of sugilite. Eno chilefa bale chitabalonga mu matraki fibale babangwere baiso obushiku bale senda awe ndiva tupange ko kuno ama workshops tufunda abana okupanga efinkolonkolo fya mu matwi fya kufuala maelena na fishi. That's what they are using sugilite for. Here we can make batetara kaunda badishile nani kane Mansa batteries. We can do those things. So we have reached a point now when all of us must say we are tired of being workers. We want to be investors.
Yeah. There's an argument that probably there's too much land here which is just lying idle. And we have not been very productive as a people. Probably we need support from those who have been doing better than us, like Vietnam, who are now listed as the tiger economies that are actually rising economies taking over everything in the world.
In that area, when God demarcated the earth, he put ama viete ku vieti, he put Tanzanians ku Iringa. Mamunaka ba Tanzania bali kunuma Yesu bali kuchishinda. Bale isa bale fika na kuno kuine bale isa nefimi kasufili efikulu kuna konde twenda tijembe nga baisa kwanzi chibarua ndefo yenchito. Ama Tanzanians, this time around you cannot find a Tanzanian looking for work in Zambia. Evo tuwale womfya kumwesi kuna konde kujanga mlefo okulima baisa nefimi bale isa ama kasu yabo yakulu baye tati majembe. Ela bale isa tinkwanzi jibarua I'm looking for work. Tani kanuka shita. Umunandi wa Tanzania nikalima wa beans, nikalima wa rice, nikalima wa mataba. You heard recently the president is talking about importing maize from Tanzania, from Uganda. So if you akutilati yo limbita tubomba bwino no. Tatwa kwa tefe ntungulu shisha kutisha ikata abantu pamaboko kutila bane. Nembushi nayo ni business. Kuno kulimpange ya kutilati nga mwaleta improved breed ya mbushi. Abantu kuti bale chitana export kufyalo fimbi. Kuti mwateke ngombe, so it's not like we are not doing well. Nga tatule chitabwino techa kuti chapiribulo okutilati. Iwe munga ndangata ukwete sofa. Pantu shikwete sofa lekanshitishi enganda. Ulala panse. Pantu inena imwe natukula. Me I'm 64 years old. Ninkwata abe shikulu. No mbanga nashana shitishe chalo. Abe shikulu bandi n'abana babo. Bakaya kui. Ushibaka ku Mozambique. Ushibaka ku Zimbabwe. Abana yensu ku Mozambique. Apabe na South Africa bale butuka. Bale ya Mozambique. Abana Zimbabwe bale ya Mozambique. Bale tinga bafika kulia. Baisabe bati mulefa empanga yakulimate atitwala michitalisi kwati nifiri ukuchita renti nganda atitwala michitisha renti 20 years nga mwachitabwino we can renew for another 25 years bale butuka balisula kumukushuku mwalumfule baleti president mwana wasa balila ndati nkeza mitafya mukabwereloko mwafuma baisula kupandi vetu alita umusungu ngafika awe na makayapwa puruputu kwati fi pululu umusungu ninchushi ashadila muno chalo nangu ngaisa na caravani naisa kurukutu balafika muno abasungu mu Zambia aisa fena pata na caravani ale kunkusha elo fena the Minister of Agriculture ine I said I don't want caravan farmers to come they never camped at my Ministry of Agriculture. I don't want caravan farmers because I believe a Zambian can produce what we need to export and what we need to eat. We just have to have a government which is caring for the people. I mean, Zambians produce bumper crops. So we cannot say tatuwomba. Bushe umwina luapula. Mwalimu mwana ya mkulombo wali. Umwina luapula. Ngaje mboa. Abika pona kabwali katute. Nishika kwana. Ngale fayo musalu. Abika pokatapa. Nomba tata. Wakapunga kutumwa nje bati. Limbi tatuwombeshe mpanga ya alikula. Ni mpanga ya kwana. Chinshire satapangire mpanga ya nonange ya kudwa player kuti ngole pupuka mumulule moni amenshi. Kuno kumwesi kuno kuti twachita generate power. Msonda force. You know, but you know, you don't even need a force to generate power. The largest concentration of solar light yaba muno wapula. You can produce electricity kuno kulu wapula. Ukubo mfya akasuba. Kuti mwasende fimi pipe, mwaya bika mulu wapula muli bemba mulia, mwapula wapula mulia. You don't need a mountain to generate that. No, mba, icho tatua kwata kuno. Not just kulu wapula. Tatua kwata ntungulushi, mukamfulumende, ishi tontonka nishapabantu. Apatule umfuati bansonsela bali bengi abalire kumu viete yoyu. Bala umfuano kokwini. What we have right now are leaders who are only caring for their pockets. A problem to akwata muno Mzambia. Tatula kwate ntungulu shishijesha akutilati. Bane, tiye ntwika lepa mona batata. Bamwine mushi, tumfuane. We people who come from Lusaka think that we know it all. That's a problem. Whether it's agriculture, mining. Ushanga mwalire pali batata ba mavumba nangu ba mibengi pala mwalanda ti tupandeni kwa mano tuchiteshani bishete tibatwe. What do you need to mine sugilite? You need a bulldozer, you need a digger, you need a truck. Abale imbo kubale chiteshani bambi bale imbo banama piki bale iba. But if you say bamwine mushi bashamfumu protect this resource, don't you think we don't even need security there? We don't need security. Abeni bamukuba kuti bachita shani kuti bachita protect, but we have people wakandire ponse apo aikata ni 10%, ni 10%, whether ni minister ni councillor ni 10%. Mwandu bakwalesa lesaka ya tukanda fwe bakwata chance ya kulidinga abantu wakaya tutamfia.
You have been heard on so many platforms talking about the shrinking democracy in this country, and the people of Lopla probably would want to know and understand, what do you mean as the United Kwacha Alliance, as FDD, ukutila ama isosele mnocharo tamuli kabiri ba UPND tabaliteka ukulinga nifyo bala ilawe na Zambia 2026 2021
kwai ngabalanda ti tatule isosela ama isosele yena na yapwa apape ne mwamona apa baloya balenje bati bale kuita ku polisi palichi Thursday na alipa mulabasa na le yasuka ba minister ba home affairs balelanda ti Edith Nawakwi should shut up. So don't alibe ba minister imwe na fa bento alikuwa tama question pa umulumendo basenda batu wala kuna museche kuchipata honorable MP for Peter okay, because umulumendo alilanda ti aba muchitire abduct alibeshiba nomba taba bachitashani taba bachita interview because ine panondi mumulabaso nganalanda ti ba Vincent mwalachi mona imwe mwalachi mona elo tulefu mabasanga naba mipaya pana nikane panshila pali God forbid nina nibenga konkela first bushite ine nomba mu UPND mwalifuma abantu aba bafenda paka nema fyaba kuchipata balanda aba bafenda pa TV bali chitashani bali lando okutila imwe balungu na JJ na nani kane na
ginseng.
Be careful. will sort you out. They are part of Nanikani. They are part of UPND, my senior leaders in UPND. So number chishita babe pusha nangu fe question ya kutila chishi mwala ndile filia. Ifo twaisala ndo kulanda ati mwe bantu mwe ifo tule dondonga nyokutila ti abantu bafire baba interviewed tatula ikata na kuchani kuya kumatolokoshi ine nafumine kuma sales na ikereko 7 days kuikala muma sales ku police ichalembwa mu lupapulo lwa Zambia kulanda ati umuntu nga mwamwikata kumubika matolokoshi for 48 hours, after which you take that person to the magistrate for charging nangu high court nomba inena ikala 7 days tabalelanda na tinde ya kuchipatala bakana na itaba kwisa senda blood ati bampime bakana. You know abantu ife balechita kwatinga na ulwala ufire waifuila. You know they really want to get rid of all opposition. After that waisa ima wayaku magistrate court vevere no beo bale kupere chungulo pakoye lale kwisa kuchimbwagaila. It's not about correction, it's about punishment. So when we are saying there's no democratic space, nififya kuti nga waisula fyakanwa kabiye ku police apandela ndani nkwata call out bantu mina nombali ne call out ba lawyer ati bakapokola baile ku office ya ba lawyer bandi babe bati Nawakwi baile around 10-11 at Nawakwi must come at 15 hours for interviews. Chef chaba no mulandu tabalembere kale balelemba bakapokola kutenda ati we are investigating a case of theft of motor vehicle. Mwamonaka nangu we are investigating murder case. Efe badechita nomba pakwa bafye bakutumina kanoti come now ngatawile kirikiti nishi lwanya inokwisabuka nishi natumfwana ati awe tukesa pali chitatu ukwisasanga na bafika panganda ala mwe bana bakwa Kristu mwe twamfwena tukesa pali chitatu. Ndebu tukila kwisa bashinguluke nganda to see if I can jump over the fence. Kuchiruka fence ine awe takwa befyo. So if akutila ati hardly a few weeks now, a few days or whatever, I'm going to start appearing in court on 8th. I'm getting more call outs. Umuntu umo. So if akutila ati since batekere bahakainde babapere obuteko obu 2021 August bayana ku inauguration. From that time until last week takwa bala kuba public assembly of the opposition. Twalieseshe bayuka twatituye kukafyuwe bakapokola wasange baliko nishinaba mye bati it's a security issue. Nomba security issue ati tabatuchite police but wasanga bakapokola na besula. Twalia ku twatitukwate rali ba sharakateka bali italali ku mandevu ba police full ba UPND na mapanga mwise kunotwala mikoma. You know that kind of behavior is dangerous. So ichishinga chakutila ati all opposition leaders, and most of them have been either summoned to police, they've slept in the cells, ubushikubumo ine vapule vamabonga changala munia. One day 5 leaders locked up, but the accused persons are traveling freely with the president, not even being interviewed. In fact, the accused persons now are the ones accusing the victim. So how can you say there's democracy in our land? And my advice is this, that we are so engrossed in trying to protect the presidency. Vakapokola, va UPND, valechita, nga uyatalande nkwi, uyatalande fitu, it will not protect the president. What will protect the president is his close interaction with the people. Abantu palikanokashita, they are hating. Vakateka varera ndati bunga buka ba 50 kwacha. Busheni 50 kwacha, nimpita muno ma 400, ma 350. Busheta balandira tamalaiti. Ifo tukasenda menshi, eba gari nkombo, tukafumya kulwa pula. Pachembe na paka fiwe pepi pali yakupanga fe kamufolo menshi ya mukafiwe river. Bali panga. Busheta balandira ti darkness, power cuts yakabani thing of the past. Pano tuli pano na mwasha genset. Mweba na bakwalesa. Kuno na sanga kubarera ndati ngawa yasha amalaiti 2 hours nishina ushuka. Alakulusaka kule pita na 24 hours. Ngo chitarani butchery inamashire iborera fe. Nabazambifi bali yambo kupelo mukaka kuna nikane kuromo oko nchikanoko. So balila ndo kutilati. Awe tamwakale chula. Shonse fika bafi. Dola nga mtu abachitaswe limbitatula abachitaswe ilini nilalanda pomwe bantu bakwalesa nga mwabachitaswe ini pa 10 o'clock by 14 hours nishi dola yabwela ili mu single digits nomba ile fika na 30 kwacha to $1 bale chita celebrate no debt write off but this lack of democracy is going to affect even the foreign support for our programs because umuntu chirabushigungole konenkesha opposition na ifuta kulalanda we bishani fabali twisala kanwa twakula abakumanya abanabo kubeba ti aba bantu aba babe finefi and I want to tell this government that when I was Minister of Finance, the IMF and the World Bank stopped support to Zambia and also the bilateral supporters. They stopped for 2 years. It was not because we didn't meet the conditions of which were set in the program. So much target, inflation, so much this. We met all those parameters. But there were 2 conditions which we didn't meet. One, brutality of the police. The police at the time were very brutal. Many people who are my age will recall the zero option and how people were abused by the police. Even some people died. I mean, you know that someone comes from detention and they are vomiting blood. What would have happened? Late Dean Mungomba was severely abused. And there were many people in the zero option who were abused. So the international community picked that. And when I went to Paris, that was one of the issues, that the Zambian government is abusing governance. And for me, I didn't say no, it's not true. I actually told them that it's true. The Zambia police are very brutal. I even took a video of inside the prisons. I went to Chimbwagaira, I went to Mwembeshi, I went to Mukobeko. I took videos of a warden walking ahead of 20 inmates who were on death row. I say, is this policing? This is good faith. So let us have money to invest in turning around the police. I didn't have to go there and start talking like my colleagues. No, it's not true. It is true that the Zambia police now are politicized, they are brutal, they are intolerant, and it's not their fault. The regular policeman from Lilai is a very good person. But is this infiltration by party cadres from UPND that is making our police service look like we have an ugly police service? And they are just getting instructions. I mean, like for me, it was very clear. When I asked them, I said, comrades, my lawyer and Nasirele, Superintendent Nasirele, and the 2 other police officers, they agreed that we meet on Wednesday. Their answer was that the people you agreed with, that's their boss, are much junior. That's another policeman coming on site. Those people are very junior. I'm talking to people who are senior than the one they were reporting. They were reporting to Assistant Commissioner of Police. Now, this person who is talking like that is just an inspector. So I said, what's going on? What's the discipline? An inspector from Central Police is talking about a senior person at Central Police that, no, he reports to me. I report to people who are senior than him. They've instructed me to pick you up now. And very violent, because he wants to please not the Inspector General of Police, but his master. So when we talk about lack of democracy, it is the whole governance chain. You talk about the police, the judiciary, parliament, MP, hey, sit down, get out. Speaker of the National Assembly is like she's running a kindergarten. She's no longer running parliament. Mushakwali bakwena speaker, atamfya ba MP, abadisate. Get out! Get out! Get out! Shabala Nchimona, in the history, from independence you can search, she has chased more MPs from the House than any other member of parliament. And unfortunately, this is our first woman speaker. She has given us a bad name because she's bidding for State House. She's not doing the work of what a parliamentarian should do. There's no way you can be chasing Bamundubire like they are children from parliament. It is never done. You send them to the Standing Orders Committee if they have committed something. But this speaker, I want. So if you can't even go to parliament, you can't even go to the judiciary, you can't even go to government, you can't even go to the police, where do you go? Where do you go? And I beg this government that this is not a time for us to continue in this fashion. This is a time there's hunger, there's no power, people are restless. Let us unite the country, because even though we don't have food, if we work together, we can transit through these difficulties. Let us sit down and say, what do we do as a people? We should be talking now, it's going to July. We should be talking about how we're going to use these provinces, Northwestern, Luapula, Northern, Muchinga, how we're going to use these provinces to feed the rest of the country. But so there's no democracy. That's the bottom line.
President Nawakwi, you in UKA Foundation, UKA movement are being accused of perpetuating tribalism, and that you are bent on splitting this country with the words you are using, and you've been arrested. Some of your colleagues have been arrested on that fact. How true is that, and what do you say to that?
This is pointing at you. The father of tribalism.
Why did you say that?
People forget that I was his vice president. That's when I saw the ugly head of tribalism rear itself. Because Sakwiba can't be the apparent leader of UPND. That the largest grouping of members of the House were from Southern Province at the time. And therefore, since late Anderson Mazoka had passed on, he needed to be succeeded by someone from Southern Province. Evachtre introduced tribalism. And again, you go back to the record, just to Google, where President Hakainde says, you don't want me to be president just because I'm Tonga. You understand that? So, and then when Nibapule is arrested, what are the party officials in Southern Province saying? Abashiri arrested. Munia was responding to a party official from Southern Province who was saying, Iwa Munia, we kesa ku Southern Province. Munia says, na iwa we kesa ku mwesu kuilamba. Mamona, both should have been picked up. Because now we don't have tribes. Zambia has no tribes. Ngana tinjipushe muno mu studio mwalasangati bamusondapa limbi baupo mwina mwanga. Limbi baupo mtonga. Me, I was married to a Tonga. So what is the tribe of my daughter? Eh? So you can have a chief in this province whose mother is Lamba Olenje or Namwanga, because you are matrilineal. You are not patrilineal like the Namwangas who say that the line of inheritance is from the father. So to the extent that we have intermarriages, Musonda, Mwenda is available in this country. No mbanga kwaba ukupiana batata bachisunka. Ngakuti bankashia bachisunka baupo mwina mwanga. Mukakwata chifu nyina mwina mwanga. Mwamona ushiri mwaushi. So how can you say we have tribes? The people who are tribal this time is those of us who were born before independence. Abana besu today bashupa fie. Because there's been mixed marriages from every tribe. There's not one tribe which you can say, awe, abalozi, balozi, abena mwanga. I am probably the last generation of a product of two Namwangas. Because myself, I was married to a Tonga. My late husband is humble from Monze. I don't know what my children, my boys are married from one is married from a lady from Lambaland. One is married from a lady whose parents are from Luapula and Chinsali. Now tell me, which Zambia are we talking about? The people who use the tribal card, it's for their benefit. Kambo bakari kwamba kuti UPND Yesu. Mwaibukisha bakari kwamba kuti ichichesu. Oh, that's Tonga. Sorry, I speak very good Tonga. They were saying that UPND is ours. I think you heard when we went to Southern Province, people would say ichichesu. There were people, there's a lady from Kafue who stood up and said, all of you vote for a Tonga. Because our president is Tonga. He never said a word, shut up, that can't be done under my name. You understand what I'm driving at? You ask me, why do you say that? Because he has never condemned those who have stood up to talk tribal on his behalf. He has never said, no, don't do it under my name. But he too has voiced the fact that other tribes didn't want him to be Tonga, to be leader because he was Tonga. No, we don't want a Tonga president. We don't want a Namwanga president. We want a Zambian president. We want a Zambian-born president. We want a president who will embrace every Zambian. Because Zambia has changed. Zambia, even at independence, our forebearers, the Kaundas, they didn't talk tribal. Otherwise, Hali Mwanga Nkumbula would not have been in the packet. The people who created Zambia were not tribal. You had the Kapwepwes, you had the Nkumbulas, you had the Mwanawinas. All those people go together and say, what is good for us? And that's what we need to retrace ourselves, who are bickering in the political arena, to say, what is good for the future of our grandchildren? So this arresting of one person, leaving another one, is like your child going outside to insult elders. And then you start fighting with them outside. No. First, President Hakainde should sort out the mess in his party. The bitterness, the ugliness in his party, where officials are going out now in 2024 with pangas in Mandevo. He should sort that out. Where his officials are going in the compounds to loot. He should sort that out. Because akabushika pianga pokekele. He should clean the mess before he starts thinking that he can clean the mess outside. Otherwise, he's only being seen as being vindictive to those he's incarcerating, when his own people his own supporters are left scot-free in his party and he's eating with them at the table. There's this provincial chairman for Northwestern Province, for UPND. He has been extremely abusive of our former president. And I thought that at that level, where a leader, because the provincial chairman is a very senior party member, he sits in the management committee of UPND, but he goes to have tea with the President Hakainde. And this is a person who is addressing President Lungu in public. I would have thought that that kind of assault should have been nabbed just when he started. He should have even been expelled from UPND, that he's messing up the party, he's messing the name of the president. But the president entertains that, and that's where we differ and say, no, truly he should say, you people, you can't do this on my behalf, because they're doing it on his behalf. And if he's quiet, it means consent. So this issue about tribalism, the people are using it, they're using it for their own benefit.
Okay. The fight against corruption in the country, we'll move quickly so that we can probably give some time to people to call in. The issue of the fight against corruption, the UPND championed corruption fight. They accused the PF every day of being a corrupt party, and they said they will work to stamp out corruption because they were cleaner. It's been 3 years almost in power. Are we seeing the corruption fight you thought would come? And have we made progress in as far as the fight against corruption as a country?
No, we haven't made progress. I think that my greatest disappointment is that this government is even more corrupt than any other government that we have gone through. I have said that when they finally pack the bags, they will go in the history of Zambia the most corrupt leadership that we have ever had.
Why did you say so, ma'am?
I will elaborate. 6 million acres, that's corruption. They have no time, they have no business meddling in traditional land. That's corruption. Lusaka has gone on fire because now they're pointing fingers at each other. Unatengako, unatengako. The chiefs haven't taken anything. The people are left. You cannot go to a province and sell land. They've given out 134,000 hectares of land in Muchinga and the northern province to someone known so-called explorer. He's just busy at Kanyelele buying gold there and apparently exploring. The fellow is just buying gold. Why would you do that? Why would you give Mufulira slag dump called Black Mountain to Jubilee Metals without a bid? This government, you heard about Mopani. Before they could sell Mopani, they sectioned a portion of Mopani to a company called Jubilee Metals in South Africa. These people have not paid a single coin to the treasury. That's corruption, because that's a people's asset. Our birthrights are being given willy-nilly to foreigners. Just last week, Jubilee Metals announced in London that the government of Zambia has now given them another slag dump called the Ron slag dump. So, and then we heard a story. We heard a story that just when they came in, there was money called the Environmental Fund, almost $40 million, which had been sitting in the Ministry of Finance. What did they do? They took that money and Minister Kawuswe instructed his officials to give that money to Aflife. Who is Aflife? Aflife is a company owned by the president, his friends Muna Hantuba and Valentine Chitalo. So our money, which we borrowed from the World Bank, is sitting at a private fund manager and there's no project which is being managed. So, and then you think about the transaction which they've done at KCM. They've given back KCM to Vedanta, a company which is broke. PF took that KCM back. By the way, Konkola Deep Mine is one of the richest mines in the world. They've taken it and given it to this friend of theirs from India under the name of Vedanta. No sooner had they given them back, because the president says, I want the court process to end. He even interferes in the court process because it was in court. So it comes out and some of us are saying, yeah, maybe he has intervened so that people can start working at Konkola. But you know what he does? He gives to Vedanta. Up to today, it's not open. But what does Vedanta do? They take the same mine, go and sell shares in the London market or wherever and sell shares to the same company which has taken Mopani. You see that? Now, how stupid can you be? Because even ourselves, since we owned the mine at the time, we could have floated the shares. And the 1 billion which Vedanta has bagged, that 1 billion could have come to us. This is where I say, how stupid can you be? This is outright stupidity. You take cash, na mkwata tute. Mwapelo mnenu. Ashtisha. Abike ndalama. Mpakuiro ashtisha. I mean, how useless can you be? Babula, mine, Konkola Deep. Babwesesha kuchipuba chi Vedanta. Chashinguluka fe, tachilete na ngushimwe ndalama. Chaya kupa next door chashtisha $1 billion. Chabwela. No, Vedanta has sold 59% of the shares in Konkola Deep. I said to myself, this is nothing to do with Wupubana and Wukopo. It's outright corruption. Ngabukopo, Efotwala, and Sheba Kabuswe is the correct minister for mines. Because I don't even think that that's right. Mwabula slag damp, yo mufile mwapela ama Zambians. Mwapela sendeni chichipe, mwapela ma South Africans. They are going to make 13,000 tons of copper per annum. 13,000 tons of copper per annum from Mufrila alone. So in their new announcement, they are saying the business in Zambia is growing because we are targeting near surface assets. They don't have to dig and sink shafts. Obupuba mwebantu bakwa Kristu, bupuba mwebana bakwa Leso, bupuba mwabule ndalama cash mwapelo omsungu wa South Africa pantu munenu ngatwalanda bale tutumina ama call out ku police at we must shut up. I mean, I raised the issue with the fact that Muna Hantuba is a board member of Jubilee Metals. And Jubilee Metals has got a part of Mopani for free. I said, but this is corruption. Atawe Mwandi, I must answer to defamation. Alefintu na fishupa Mzambia. Fweba mbi mukasanga fena watu ipaya. Kulina ma abduction. Mukasanga na watu chita abduct.
Thank you so much, Mama. When the UPND actually were in opposition, we saw quite a great number of international community members coming to aid the UPND and speak to President Lungu at that time, when he was incarcerated and arrested over the Mongo fiasco. We are not seeing so much of the international community. Are you speaking to them on the things they're complaining about in terms of democracy in the country?
You know, I think they are utterly disappointed because they invested their emotions, their resources in the UPND. Chaba kwati fili omwana wa mtola ku school. We mwana wandi bright. Wasanga pepe chamba ku school. This is what has happened to UPND. I think the shock is palpable in everybody, in you and me. Sure, we were the worst critics of UPND. But deep down in my heart, I thought, this is a person in my generation. And I was expecting even a third of good work from him. But he's turned out to be the worst president. So you bear with the international community. I think they are still absorbing the shock. That one, he doesn't listen. Two, they have no management acumen. Pandu de dule yafe wa ambo kushani na nanika nati no, I'm the best. I've done restructuring. Inkongole kulipira. Masitula kwa tenkongole wa yaku banki. Kulipira. Tefyo. Kulipira. So, aba umewe walipira inkongole. Mwamo nae. Tetule shanati no, nashira abe shikuru inkongole. And this debt which we have, we can sell, we can clear it. We should 20 billion sure. Ninda lamesha kuti tule umana. Na tukwata suglite. Na tukwata ama emerald. Uyu munensu umwine wa grizzly mining. Shireshani, what's his history? We have made him rich. The nature of us Zambians is that we make foreigners rich. We are quite happy if a foreigner is rich. But Mweba Vincent nganamisanga mleisha Hilux wafumishe kuisa. Nanguni second hand Hilux wafumishe kuisa. Later, these are proceeds of crime. The only people who must have assets are UPND. Na bakula mayanda yama. Na bakula. Balekula na kuka fiwe river, bakula, balitanta mabalekula. There's not one person chasing them. But ingawasanga mwanalungu aleteke nkumba, proceeds of crime. We are not proud that Zambians are trying to do something to better their lives. Muri UPND, ngawapanga tu sausage tauli member wa UPND, she's proceeds of crime. And they are saying suspected to be proceeds of crime. Number one, Bushati, who is he suspecting? Because there must be a complainant. Busha policeman fe atontongati. Na yamo ne bachungu hapa. Bachungu namfale nkolo kweyo. I suspect you have stolen it. Ichita explain if wakwate nkolo kweyo chungu. Bishukwena buntu. Where is our pride? You go to Tanzania. These big hotels you see in Tanzania are owned by Tanzanians. The largest TV station in Tanzania is owned by a Tanzanian. You go to Bahari Beach, you find Ama hotels, Ama 5 stars, they are owned by Tanzanians because what they have done in Tanzania is that in Tanzania, when you're borrowing money, you don't need the title deeds. Your project is the title deed. The bankers sit down and analyze whether your cash flow is viable. They lend you on the basis of the cash flow. That's why you've seen that Tanzania has overtaken us. In Tanzania, the people who are owning gold mines are Tanzanians. Not ififya bututu, ififya kuti. Katuishinga tuwamono msumbu ni tuwamona Yesu waisa. Awe. Tefya chaba. Let's glorify our own people. Wasango mwana alisambirira aleteke nkoko niweka teka wayasende chitere ati no, this is I suspect to be proceeds of crime. FH nika kuli balungu. I know that Daddy so keeps chickens. He doesn't even stay in town. Asunge nkumbo mwaiche. Asenda amani. Daddy so gets on the track to sell eggs at Kasumbalesa. Really, those of us who know the young man, you know we weep. Because ngaba wishiba mwafuilisha apange chitere elo mwayamwe bati proceeds of crime. Wishikwena inenga na shitiro mwana wandi motoka. Nishitene mpere. Nishinene mpere. But that's not even the issue. Na bena bahaga inde barapera abana babwa amafamu. Kaini has over 70 farms. Ushite bana babakashila, tebana babapela. His children have just finished school. Do they have houses? Bali bapela mayando mwa kwikala. Bushena ifo tule yati ni process of crime. Why hasn't he declared his assets? If crime, we suspect it to be proceeds of crime. Are we going to continue running our nation in the manner we are doing, vindictive? Every head of state who comes in, we address them in public. I think we should stop it. I don't want when President Hakainde gets out of office, we start addressing him the way he has addressed his colleagues. I want us to have a break and say enough is enough. Tabachita declare ama assets. Lekeni tubaleke. Fya Zambia. Ngama famu yali kunanika ne kuchisamba. Tayaka ye ku England ya Zambia. Bakafuwa baka yashe Zambia. Mwamona. Ngabale chita employer abantu balina abantu. Bana ba Zambia baleria. Indalama chawama bale bika abantu mu Zambia. Nomba apachiri na mumona nendalama tulefiro nokusanga 10 kwacha mu bank. Ngawa yati takuli indalama. Because bambi abakwata indalama balishifisa. Ababene abesa abati ama-investors aba every day bale chinje ndalama mu mabanki bale tuma kumwabo nga wasanga umwina 10 ale chinje ndalama mu banki amatranki Iwe Nawakwi nga wayabika 100,000 you have to say date of birth, your house, how you have got it, let alone nga wayamukuchita withdraw, what are you using. I mean ama papers hip no manda sanga ba Mr. 10 Bale chita fraud ama trans yandalama mu mabanki bafumya kwi. What business do these foreigners do in our country that when they are in front of you at the bank they take 3 hours to deposit the money? What business do they do? Why isn't the government following and asking them that these are proceeds of crime? Why has it got umuntu fyo wankanda yandi kano fyo umbi ewule chita enjoy Zambia ifo fobe ne bachalo nga watudye ko kalembula ati waiba. Let's change our attitude. And for me, I want us to reflect on how we have lived since the Second Republic. It has been vindictiveness after vindictiveness. Thank you to President Lungu, because balisanga balupia bali mu mafia yaku ya mjele balileka. And that's what I expect, that any leader amongst us who takes over from President Hakainde Hichilema should know that President Hakainde Hichilema has served the nation. We should give him the respect of a former head of state. For me, that's my wish. I don't want a situation if Nawakwi is president, there, Hakainde, come here. I suspect you have process of crime. No, let us put a break, because it's not giving Zambia a good name.
Okay. Ma'am, you have been a proponent of decentralization of power. You claim that the only way that Zambia will develop is moving Zambia from Lusaka and taking it to all the districts and villages of this country. The United Party for National Development will increase CDF as a way of decentralization. Does it buy into your idea, or are they doing it right way or wrong way at this stage?
Lelo nachukumanya ba councillor.
Okay.
I met 1 or 2 councillors. I won't mention their names. Bachiland that they even miss the 1.6 billion.
1.6 million.
1.6 million iyo bale bapera ba PF, because yale moneka. At this money is just by word of mouth. Because you cannot say that you have decentralized and take money to a ward. I always like to say that in my ward in Nakonde, the most educated person is my young brother. So you're asking my young brother to be the one who is chairing maybe 40, 50 million. And when we reach that point, we actually chuckle and laugh. It would have made sense if that money was sent to the councils. And in Mansa here, we have, maybe Mansa is a province. Let's take Samfya. Samfya has a district. The district has a councillor. The district has members of parliament, councillors. Over and above that, there are government functionaries in Samfya. the district education officer, the district medical officer, the officer in charge. Name any department, agriculture, they are there. What would stop a decent government from taking all these central government functionaries in Samfya and ask them to sit at the council chambers with the councillors, with the MPs, with the village headmen, and with the chiefs? Mwaguli batataba chifu ba Kalasa Mukoso Mwaisa bebati. You are invited to the chambers with your headmen. Baikala mwabe pusha fish mrefu aya muchiefdom mwenu. That's all they need to say. What they want. We want a school. Ngabalanda tule for a school. Pa group ya ma government functionaries. Pali abantu abali from infrastructure department. Ndeko baba kudia kusamfya. Tefyo. Mwabe bati, we want you to draw a 1x3 classroom block and supervise it. Do you think they want to deliver that product, quality product? They will deliver that product. When you call the district agriculture officer, mwaya kuli batata ba mibenge, iseni mwikale pamona ba district agriculture officer, nama councillors, nama village headmen, bushe ba shamfumu, bushe taba ishibati Nawakwi munangani. Ngatule pela fertilizer utubalanda uyu munangani arashitisha fertilizer, because the village headmen are there, the chief is there, bakabiro bamfumu eko bali, ma councillors eko bali. They can even say how much do we do in each area. Ngabali bebati kuno kumwesu tatulefa okulima amataba, tulefa ya support to grow the production of cassava and the processing of cassava. Pantunga mwaisa senda 50 million kwacha mwapela ba Samfya tyapa abe nenga chakuti tamule yakanya indalama kwatika tuishifyo mule yakanya abe nelimbinga bali landa pwati okay, let's spend 2 million or 3 million to shite processing plant ya cassava. Don't you think that cassava growing would go up here? It will go up. Nomana chilapita mumusebo abantu balega ya cassava. This cassava is God. We don't even need to do mining. So now what is happening? Ni just talking. No, me. In fact, next year I will increase to say nipakanwa feyama nipakanwa indarama tashisa. I would like the DC, my sister, to come and refute that indarama shidesa. I would like the government departments to come and say that yo kusamfya badi tuwale indarama. Some districts they are doing orientation now for money which they should have spent 2 years ago. So it's just mere talk. Amanensi by UPN badi tema propaganda. So in order for us to develop, we need to go back to the basics. Ba mwinselo ba fikire mu Africa. Bale bonfya ba shamfumu. Bale bonfya ma headmen. To collect each tupa. Na ifwe tufure tuwaishibati, development will not just happen. It has to be inspired by us. We need to be all inclusive. So decentralization, decentralization is the administrative arrangements that you put in place. And for me, on my own, I believe that we'll be talking about decentralization when we create business at the household level. How do we do that? Village to village? No. We need to include the traditional leadership, the chieftaincy, into the management, so that when we say this is the Samfya district, we are talking of an arrangement where the traditional leadership, the councillors, the MPs, and the village headmen, together with the government officials whom we have educated. Tawakayena ngukumu munu Zambia, uko kasanga district agriculture officer, takwata second degree. Bonze bali sambidile chipesha mano. Ba doctor eko bali. Ngamlefu kula ndefya mchipatala. Why give money to a councillor to build a clinic? Ta ishwa napa belo umunshi wa clinic. Bisheni maternity, bisheni shani. You need to involve the infrastructure department. You need to involve the recipient department, which is Ministry of Health. So the district medical officer must be involved in the planning. They want maternal health, child health, they want kube na mental health facility. No mbanga mwapela inene kansela newa fumakulunga kuti naishiwa that Minister of Health now needs to talk about mental health, because once no, we need some mental health education. Once we are suffering because the situation is so bad. So in my view, this decentralization is just by mouth. It is not being delivered. It's a waste of resources. And in the absence of any other resources, I would have thought these resources should have been used to the maximum, to the benefit of the people. Nali beba nokubebe infla the other year nali bebe natibane infla ile loka yebe nama MPs babule ndara mashini mubapere bashite mbuto na to fertilizer bushenga bachita support nangu 200 farmers in each ward. 200 farmers babapere mbuto babapera na fertilizer ngata kwa insala ile loka nena the other year. I tried to give them useful suggestions, but it won't for so going mwatu leka aile na mafikubuko. So abantu aba echo tuafika pa kuti tuleluke nsala elota tulafika po pakuti December ise katuishi twakula luko mlopa.
We have an energy crisis for President in 2024. You are energy minister. The country, the small business owners like me are struggling a lot. The government promised that they would work to ensure that we have enough power to generate or to make our business run. It doesn't look like it. So many small businesses are shutting down. And we've heard from the president claiming that this is about the worst drought this country has ever had. I know you have energy experience. You are an energy economist as well. What is your view, and what could be done to save these small businesses that are dying as a result of what is happening currently? What is your word to your brother Hakainde Ichema on this matter?
Actually, it's not the drought that is a problem. It's a technical problem.
What do you mean?
In Kariba Dam, when they built the Kariba Dam,
yes,
it was built to carry four gen sets, 4 turbines on the south bank, 4 on the northern bank, and we're on the northern bank. So that cycle of 4 turbines would take 5 years or thereafter to empty the dam. Then after a short time, no, it's because of the drought. No, it's a technical problem. What has happened on the northern bank, they put more turbines. They put 2 more. Then they uprated. They put a higher rating. Ngamu station mule chitati volume ka. Mwabika volume. Everybody chitana kuma turbines yali aba kukaliba north band. Ba yesula eno yale nwamenshi kwa tichipoma. Wow. You're generating power not equivalent to the energy that is coming in. Energy is water. So the dam dries like that. If you are at the rate they are generating, they can't store water for more than a year. That dam has a cycle of 5. If you are generating at the installed capacity from the beginning, you would take 5 years to empty that dam. Now, because there are more turbines, this is the only way I can explain it in a simple language. Baadi bikafi machine na fimbi, ukuchila if yo musungu achitile plani. Ngole piko obwali, wabula amenshi wayisusha, elo tubunga tu nini. Bishekutu obwali bwakosa, tetibukose. So no, it's because of drought. Drought takes, to empty that dam you need 5 years. So a drought would not show in the first 6 months of the drought. Because amenshi nga infula ya loka ino ni July mwali monero tuwakwete kuomboka. That's when the water is starting to get to Itejiteshi and getting down to Kafiwe. So napaka fiwe pene there are more turbans than the water which is coming in. It's not because of the drought. So what should have happened at Kariba? When they put more turbans, they needed to expand the dam. The reservoir needed to have been expanded. No manga wa mfaba sungu balenda bahaka inde, but it is the worst drought. You can have a drought this year, but you won't feel the effect on the dam until after, because the reservoir was holding water. Explanation number 1. Explanation number 2. Ukukana kwate chikuku ku bantu ba Muzambia. Bahaka indelo bayishire, balisanga menshi mu Kariba. Balisanga na balungu na bakula na matebanzi yambi. Bamona ati yo kuli extra power. Bafishitisha. Ku Mozambique, kuna nikane kuna Namibia na kuisa na kuisa. Maumfaka bashitisha. Tabale tondonga yatinga mailo. Nyina wa mwana alakwata kone mpakwilo. Mailo abana bakalilo omusunga nkabapera. Bahaka inde bena kupanga ama contract ya kushitisha iyo inemulate energy, electricity yenu, ama light yenu. Bashitisha na pano tulela ndai mwanga tamukweta ama light. Ama light yenu balipoka kale ndalama bale tumakwisa. Nga kwa fena ngu 2 hours of lights bale tumakwisa. Ku Mozambique, ku Namibia. Na kwisa na kwisoko bale tuma. That's the problem number 2. Hii ne problem mwamona mu malaiti eli na kufya kulya. Balungwilo bale longa bale ya. Bali shire ubunga mu mpakwilo full. FRA alikuwa tefya kulya. Aba nandi akachawa baya pamupana nikane pa Kongo hapa. Imwe mulago kashikishi mwa yamgushitisha. Aba nandi kuru ayafika pa Kongo. No, me I'm a businessman. I'm going to open a business with Lubumbashi. Babula mataba yonse aya ali mu FRA batuma. Ba minister bachushi. Inena alibebele na timwebo mwaisula ama sheds ya pachisambaya. Abantu aba pachisambanga kwa bensala bala ya mukutantama bala shita. She was boasting. She says, we have to send. There's a lot of maize. She was working under President Hakainde. Ifin sala nomba tuleluka no mlopa. Ukukana kwata amano yabu fiasha ya kutirati. Na mailobuka chaba na bandi. You know the Bible is very clear. Joseph became famous with Pharaoh's household because he took the brinkmanship of a parent. 7 lean years. 7 bumper years. In the lean years, you eat what you stored in the bumper years. The Bible is very clear. Joseph ngata saving abantu bakwe ngachakutiri alechita behave ngefiba Hakainde balechita behave basanga efyakulya bashitisha basanga malaiti bashitisha. That's where we are. So it's both a technical problem and a lack of planning by the government where they export the electricity. Even now they are still exporting. We have urged them to say, Pane, bishomunenu ngalechita welding pa msebo. Mwamuta na amalaiti. Ero mulela ndati, no, we can't cancel these contracts with Namibia. Ngomwana wenu, wena lefu ila kwi, welda, uleshtisha, uleshta broadcasting. You know, you can't sell airtime here if you are not on air. Try to run a genset. What's the cost of fuel? What's the cost of keeping a cold room cold with meat in there? It's intolerable. So it's not just about your business. If you can't pay, if you can't sell airtime, it means you can't pay VAT. So it's a vicious circle. It's speculating into her government. Because you can't pay VAT, government can't pay civil servants. I think now move over there and that because most of the businesses which pay these fees, taxes, they are not able to do it. Who is going to pay? Zambia pays a lot of money. Do you think Zambia should put up gensets all around the chain? How about the trade kings? Do you want the trade kings to put, I don't know, 40, 50 megawatts of generators to power their production? They are one of the major payers of taxes. How about the milling companies? Vajimbara, you want him to grind maize using a genset? Even if you put solar, how many panels are you going to put? The government says put solar, put solar. Ni free. One battery is 17,000 kwacha. Apa kutubike kona ka panel palia, ubike kona ama cables na aya solar yali dura ama cables kumfu akofi. Per meter of a solar cable, just for lighting, is more than 100 kwacha per meter. So, and we don't produce those things because we are sending away the minerals raw. We can easily say, let's produce solar batteries here, but what are we doing? So, this is a huge problem. And when you don't have energy, it's like not having blood in your body. When you don't have blood, you die. Because it's water, blood, and air. When you don't have blood, you will die. The economy of Zambia is dying. It's dead. There's nothing we can do about it.
But are you advising the president? Are you talking to
This
him?
is part of advising him. How can you talk to someone who's taking you to the cells every day? I don't know when I see the police on Wednesday whether they've already prepared my sleeping place at the cell. So, this is the first president we've had who doesn't want to talk to his colleagues. And I'm urging the people in the church, we can't go on like this. We need to talk. If we go to 2026, each one pulling a different direction, we're not going to have peaceful elections. We need to talk for the sake of our nation. It doesn't matter how ugly some of us look. We are participants. I urge the church to try and get this president to sit with the colleagues. It's not impossible. Every war ends at a table. Even the Vietnam War ended at the table. There is always no victor at war. The victory is won at the table where there are no winners and no losers. This is our nation. We need to talk to each other. We as politicians, even at the West, I saw President Lungu sit with President Hakainde at the church. Although President Hakainde was very rude to his colleague when his colleague was president. I was in those meetings when President Hakainde was rude to the sitting president in front of foreigners. And some of them even approached me, why is your colleague so angry? I said, I don't know. Because, you know, there's a way of talking to each other. And that's what he has taken into government, where he feels now that he has the power, he can do what he wants, he doesn't need to talk to the opposition, he can just lock us up. But that is not helping the nation. We, the politicians, are extremely few, we're a handful. The back of the owners of this country are the people of Zambia on the street who are hating, they are not eating, they are not seeing lights, they are not working, they are hungry, they are broke. That's the back of the people. And we, the politicians, need to sit down with the people and say, what do? We are in a crisis. The power issue in this country is a very serious crisis. Hunger is a very serious crisis. The lack of discussion is an extremely serious crisis. For me, I love Zambia so much that I feel that our country deserves better. And what does our country deserve? It requires politicians to sit down and craft a new direction for this country. And those that are in power are the ones who must lead. 13 akuli ba chief nati imuchite chinechi. No. Normally, leaders are the ones who invite those who have less power to seek for advice. Otherwise, when leaders think that they know it all, then you end up in a situation which Zambia is. A situation where the crisis is imminent, that there's an economic crisis and there is a political problem.
Okay, let me just read through some text messages that we have, and for those of you who would want to call, probably you can get maybe 2-3 calls because our time is almost up. You can call us on the number 0965 884 955. 0965-884-955 mkwainde na president wa FDD awo aba Uka Alliance wa President Edith Nawakwi kwa balefu kutuma mafoni pa 0965-884-955 0965-884-955 na 0974-74-9586 tubatumina mkwai pali yo namba la nalanda na text message yako valira po idelti la bushe mu Uka Alliance nibani musalire ukuba intungulushi yenu paku ya 2021. The next text says bushe na musuminisha balungu ukubwerera ukuba bakateka bachino chalo ngentungulushi. The next, this one says mwabombeni ba President Nawakwi twatotera pafyo mwalanda amashu ya kukoseresha tulelomba okuti mwikatane mulubule echalo chesu pantu apatuli ifintu tafile yangu kano kwenda umo twasubile twamweni okuti bayichirema bakateka bwino echalo lelo ubutekeshu bwabo buli ubwabulwi tatukwete mutende nga bekala chalo. Last text message says chungulo mayo nde mfwa bwino ndi kuchifuna buli nalomba okuti mwise kunona balungu mwise mulande na abantu mubakoseleshe mufyo bale pitamo kabiri mwikatane mukose mwilatina na kuya kuchifungo pantu abalubwire chino chalo bali bakakire nabo. Last one, one more here. President Nawakwi, why do you always attack President Hakainde Hichilema? Why do you hate him so much? Those are the messages that we had. I can go through and just respond to those.
Mkwai kuti nalanda ati natasha mkwai pame pusho mwai pusha nokunkoseresha mwakoseresha mkwai muyuka tatula sala ukaba presidential candidate ngevivi ne mwaumfuide twalia mkulembesha uka baisa tukanina so tuchiri tulepembela nga twachita organize bwino elo kuntanshi elo tuinga mwebo kutira ati aba ebakateka mwene ni pali chitatu inenkala ya ku police for interrogation shishi becho bale njitira so bachiri bale fwairisho kutila batu pasanganye batu bika amasiro tape pakanwa so na ifana tuishi bat strategy ya kutira ati efe bale fwa efe ngamwalanda ati lelo ni Nawakwi ni nkolonkoto lero ni bakalaba ni isakuno. So we are not even being allowed to have public rallies the way we would have. Imwa mwene kukopa belt ilia abena kwacha balilanda tifwe chibe tuleya kurali twala mwana kapokolo isa tulesha na weche shuko bakapokola bali mwana it's not necessary to have a confrontation in abantu lekeni bakwate rally. Can you imagine we're having a rally on Saturday elo bakapokola bali mpera permission ubushiku muma 22 hours pa Thursday ushobora kuti wachita organize rally nishina bakana tichinjeni mutwale ati muye kuchanda
na mine
yeah so basangati tuli kukwacha and by God's grace Uka is a spiritual organization because mwaisanga kukwacha United Kwacha Alliance era abena kwacha bali ima chinkupiti bishamwa mwene kona ngo even one uniform the police officer kuli ngabali shirenchi bali mu plain clothes bali ku Riverside bale tamba let's see what is happening and we had a peaceful rally and that was good. Ababale impusha dupshe na musuminisha balungu kuba ba president bonse mu United Kwacha Alliance twice more we want to organize. We shall announce in due course who is the president, and I want to assure the country that whoever is chosen we are all ready to support that person. tamwa comforting na wakuta mumusalire elo inena alikwatako na history ya kuti ati na lino okuba president mu 2006 na pera bahaka inde mwamonaga so don't worry about us, because now it's about the future of our nation. We've reached a crossroad where if nothing is done to provide alternative leadership, this country is going in the ditch. And we want to assure you at an appropriate time we will announce the presidential candidate for Yuka, whether they register Yuka or not. Chika lecha akutila ngabaka no kuchita register. Mkwai mu 2006 bisheta tuwa sponsor presidential candidate on UPND. What stops us now? Elo ife bale chita tabale tontonga nyama nensu bale chita ngabai mapurupuru tabale nefe bale chita. What stops us from sponsoring a presidential candidate on FDD or Citizen First? There are 13 political parties which you can choose and say to alasa a presidential candidate ala imini na pa golden party. Elo baisala ndati bayuka na babika po presidential candidate pa golden party. Once baka vote, tefyo yuka candidate. So if you bale chitati no registration, ko issue pa fiemi tima. You know, when you have power, sometimes you abuse it without thinking. This is what is happening. Now, for me, we want peace in the country. We want peace in the country. And that's the position of Yuka. You will not find us starting trouble anywhere. Ngama tulesho kukwata maradi, tuwakulaleka, but things like what happened in Kwacha, where the people in Kwacha say, kapokolorefo kutulesha radi, tuwala kumana ku ground with. And even the policemen want the rally because they want to hear alternative voice. If there are people who are really suffering, banens muma uniform, because they can't say, they can't express themselves. So, uyu tuminati kwa kuchifuna buri tukesa, because if you mwalanda tukesa kuchifuna buri tukesa, yambenu kuchita organize. No kweba abantu kutira ati mkwai tureisa, because natumfano kutira the next rally is going to be in Wapula province. After this kuchifuna budi tekutali kuti tuwapitirako nga chakuti na bachita organize. Ili question pusha ba nani kane ba UPND ati I hate Hakainde. Me, I've never put him in jail. It's him who has made me sleepy at 64, grandmother atwala nkachi yakwe. Who are the partner? I'm tola kujeo. Who hates who? Inena ria lala kuchase to the police. Why is 06? And it's not the first time. I want you to know that I went to seek alternative medical support from India because UPND police officers came to UTH, found my doctors planning for my treatment. But they want to arrest me. And I was very sick. And luckily, someone leaked that if I left the hospital, they were going to arrest me and take me to Choma. There were 5 doctors at UTH. Our doctors are competent. I didn't need to be seeking medical attention elsewhere. So if I'm not today, I just arranged my tickets and visa on the phone. Now, Fumine from UTH at midnight to go to the airport. From UTH to the airport, my brother, on a Sunday at midnight, I took the Qatar Airways flight in the night. Now, I'm trying to exit at the exit point. Now, Hakainde nachita blockish and that I can't travel. Thanks to the immigration officers, they looked at me and said, Mom is very sick. I was the last one to board the plane. I sat at the exit point. I asked the young men there and the women, please, find any chipunana ikala. And I was the last one to board. I for Okunchita Florida to buy arrest on some nonsense about Feruna and Milton, which they themselves did. And they Omuntu ayachite fintu. Wisho mno mengabi ifya papa luko sopadia. Ero aisala ndati ni ngo bifishe. Nishini uwa pato mnango ni nani? Uwa bifya paluko so. Ewa aya padi aya chite fintu ifisha londo pa mwinshi. Ero aisa kushinga iwati chitire chintu hapa. Awe waipa yo muntu ero waebo mnobe ate wipe awe nishe wampata Hakainde is the one who hates me. I don't hate the man. Why would I hate him? He's my young brother. He's the president. He has the power. I'm here. I've got a call out. No, you wanted at the police. He wants me to shut up. That's all. Balanje baba police atama yo na imwe. Tetumwaleka fyo kulanda. Nama utinaleko kulanda shani. Nina nyuka milandila.
Okay, we can pick up a call. We have
because abantu abengi baletina ngalanda bakonenkesha.
We can pick up a call. We have a call here. Let's see who's,
so there's no hatred here. He should just stop harassing the opposition.
Chungula mkwai mwabombe mkwai. Winafe mkwai wani turenda na babale tumina kwi. Mkwai wachanda, you can go ahead and make your question to the president.
Ndita mkwai. Mkwai.
Tototele washandale sampara. Okay, 0965884955. Tubatu mkwaya bali kwete amepshond na President Nawakwi, our president by FDD. This one says I will go through them quickly. Okay, this one says okay, maybe we pick up a call, then we'll read the text messages as we close. Chunguro mkwai. Hello. Chungulom kwai. Alishan kwai. Kwai nke from Rwanda ntranda na wale tumina kwi. Kwai batsenga kutumwalanda wangu ba mawa na wake bale kutika. Kwai tole onfwa. Lakini kumfa kuchidimba kumfa ni kufoni.
Entam kwa imulisha ni bashikuni.
Watoto aba Lazarus Mkwai 0965884955. Good evening. I'm happy and in support of what Madam is saying. Let's open our minds and think of what is happening in our province. Is the president aware that what is happening in Wapula or not? If yes, he is in support of it. Why not giving the land to Kubatonga from David Sinatra? There's another call here. Mwabombe Mkwai Chunguro Mkwai. Nibani Trailand and Awale to Minakwe.
Tatuleumfo malandishi.
Nikuke FM radio kunom kwa Triumfo. We know FM kwa Nibani Trailand and Awo. Nikuke FM kuna Matumina. Mkwa, you can quickly go make your thoughts known. Mkwa, Kitibalanda. Okay, that one probably it was a wrong call. Yes, our time is almost up. Let's pick our last call, and as we conclude the program, Chungrom Kwai. I am Kwai, and then I will let me know.
Endita kwa mapombeni chungura ushukumu.
Okay, let me just go through the messages quickly so that we can conclude the program. This one is tulubuleni efyo muleso sa muli ubutungulushi kutila nifika bwalala file tuibila pamitwe sendeni umubela wa bomfeshe basata mu election ya 2026 tatuleva wayaba ba HH baleta fye ubului muchalo naimbi kwe message ndati lesami pale mayo mashuri mwalanda la nomba tuli mubusha pamtu fwebena Zambia bamo tatwa kwata nempanga nomba bamwisa ebo babese mukulashitisha ubutebutungulushi iyo fwebena Zambia nomba twalaba mubusha ichi vote fwebena Zambia nomba nififine mayo lesa amitangirire muno umomulenda lesa ewa ishiba ubutungulushi bwa muntu fimo lisambiriro. The other one says mayo bana wakwi efyo mulelanda nafikwata mano twaimwena fwebena Zambia twachula please 2026 ni uka. And this other one says mwabombeni mkwai mamu baleya ababantu twachula twale umfwa ifyo bakambwiri bale tuwewa before 2021 election. John Mwansa from Senama. Thank you, John Mwansa. And this one says we want a female president. This is JC. Your conclusion and probably a response to some of the messages here.
Mkwai balanda tu shenda tasha nyino kunaya. Natasha sana aba chita ba umfefo na landa. Umunandi wako na mwandwe. I can almost see that is UPND. And that's what we call multipartism. But tetulanda ti abatabachi nangu chimo. Let me just take Mansa Central. Can you actually tell me that the Honorable MP for Mansa Central did nothing in this constituency? Bijamo alikuwa chipatale chikulunge chicha pa Mansa Central. Tabawamia. nga baba isapo fish mweba nandi mweba kwana mwandu efe mwingalanda ati ba UPND kunwero bayambira bapangana nkana nanga wakambuswa akakuti muntu asonta pota pali ichingafe okwiba sugirite baleso obushiku ande mwali umfati bayikata matrack ya sugirite mwali shiboko yaya who was arrested is the UPND members mwali umfati bali ya kukoti mule umfafe bambi ati bali ya kukoti mwali umfati kesi ya sugirite yabayikete mukabwe na ifika kwisaidi kukoti takwaba na bekalira pona abanyantirira abantu babo bena they are not getting proceeds of crime. So uyu muchishanya taufwaikwa. So alela ndati tuila bepa abantu tapali fyo mbepere hapa bushende bepa ababa viete ababalela ndati baba pele landi elo baba chite exempt kulipila yali amarandi rates iwenga na ukwatenga nda mu mansa centro uredi pila ground rate bisheta mulipila ku council mulalipila no mbaba maviete valela ndati for 99 years lease the Zambian Republican President and government of the Republic of Zambia recommendations baba chite exempt kulipila ma ground rates for 99 years lease. Exempt them from import taxes on all items of goods, vehicles, machinery, materials, equipment, and everything for the project. Inenga na shita motoka ndipire tax. Umuviete ngaleta motoka no dipira tax. Shite muchisha nyoyo. Visa exemption for experts sensing abale isa fenga bafika tulabapela ama visa bonse mumona abesa mukubombe nchito tulabapela each paper lukulanga ati muntu tulatula atawe kuti bafika fepa airport twadinda ati isaiwe kuti waya wabwela. Then founders are granted citizenship in 3 years. Ine umuntu ukesa kuno kuluwapula afuma ku vieti uko tumupela okutira ati iwe uli mwina lwapula twakupela citizenship after 3 years tatwishi benga nikabwalala. The laws in this country require that you are in Zambia for 10 years for you to apply for citizenship. No mbabe na balela ngakwapita fyeme akaita tutabala yamba no kulima rice tabala chitana clear land tubapele citizenship mukapanga kali tu Vietnam kuno bakala mitamfya tukesa misangira ku Tanzania baka mitamfya muno. And it's a long list of what they should do, including not paying tax. Do not allow any other foreign similar rice growing project in Zambia. So nga kwa iso mu Japanese alanda ati na inende fo kuya kuli batata ba mabumba bampere apa kuli ma rice ati bena ni right yabo. Icho bale fwa ya muku baba mwene kuno kulwapula. Te kuli momupunga yo. Elo inefyo ndelanda abana bese nana yakoto mwacho wandinga waipika rice ichungura isalanda tinshiradia iwe kalale musiana shiradia but na tulia rice ati awe ndirefe rice alefo yakabwali akabomba kabiye kamunda kabwali ka 5 fingers eko mwina mwanga fwaya eko umulala fwaya eko mwausha fwaya nika 5 fingers wadia umupungo luchero ne chungulo. This thing of just making exclusive allocation of things eche ama potatoes yabelele no mutengo na mumfa lili ama potatoes yale fuma ku Tanzania yali chipako no mbapa bana ndafeti only one company can do potatoes in Zambia ba UPND kuti waya mkushitaka potato mu Shoprite mule shitashinga 280. Potato is more expensive than inanika ne bunga nga walanda bana lumango ati mule yako na fimbi mwali yako na potatoes but potatoes are more expensive. Why should we stop trading in potatoes between Zambia and Tanzania? You should encourage people to grow potatoes, not to kula ndati awe one company alone efile yachita badilesha nama onions ifyonse badilesha. So it's very dangerous. So if even if akutumu neno aleranda mwati awe alibapata bushefyo ndelanda pano fikumine kumuntu ifyo ndelanda fikumine kuchalo tude umfwana tude bombela pamo tumonefyo tuinga fumia abantu munsala tumonefyo tuinga leta malaiti tumonefyo tuinga lima ifyakulya ifyakuti fwebe na Zambia twalia aba nensi ku Tanzania takwa abamanturushoni balanda tikuno kumwe sukulu wapula is a highest malnutrition occurrence, stunting of children, because takuli ifyakuli mwamona nomba ndelanda nati baboma ikale nina abantu kuno kuli amenshi kwali bana malungu. We don't need rain, we can grow ifyakulya mu malungu tefefine namba nishumu nobe na umpata shani ndelanda ku southern province takuli amenshi kuno kumwesi kuli amenshi nomba kuli akwine kuchipinda kuli okofwire waikata pwati insungira abana bandi mufya ifi eko waselusha bola mwambo kushitisha chalo kwati muleshitisha makondomu awe nimpanga Yesu yabatata mukwai tufure twaleka mwe bantu bakwalesa nangu tatukwete ndalama lesa akasuka akatupele ama leaders abakuti bamona because isugila itihi endalama tukwete ififine yamoneka kunati kwali basujira itihi ngeyo babika kona amano bushinga baletere ba ZDNS kuno baisala ndati imwe ba ZDNS ama bulldozers yenu nama diggers, it's just 2 meters down basanga sugilite tefyo bafumya manginizi bayasanga sugilite yimbeni uyu mkuba muye chita ba ZDNS state bebe kuti bachita supervise pamona ba chief indala mesho tulefu ya mkwa kuti twalipira na ba AMF na bonse abo twa Kongolo tumangwe twa Kongolo tunona but kukana kwata fyo bongo katwishilesa ngati atupela ma emerald gold diamonds elo atutana mano abulire ku Israel abika ko ichilala takwa bemfula ku Israel kwati abulire amano apela bena Israel pantu bena Israel no tumenshutu nini betilila muna nikane mu mataba nangu mu mabananas wasanga mu desert inena ile ku Egypt kusanga ama Egyptians balima mabananas mu desert nga watu mone if you ama bunches yali ni mu desert bane bebele we deliver water to the roots. So agriculture is not rain. Mwe bantu mwe wa muboma, agriculture is not rain. Agriculture is water, and we have enough water. If you're in the land, I have said, the president, Egypt, you find that it doesn't rain, but the Egyptians deliver water to the roots. Abanensi ku Dubai bapanga nemfula mumulu. Mwali mona kwa ma floods bapanga emfula. Abanensi ku Israel babula fye tumenshi twa musi of Galilee. Bayakanya baye bama farmers that by 2 o'clock open your valves. You are going to water your crops for 1 hour. Baisula. There's no rain in Israel mwe bantu bakwalesa. Twalikwata Victoria Falls. Twalikwata aho mwandi nga watupite pamulu wa Northern Province upite mulu wa Pula ulelo lesha panshi yandeko lelo lesha every 2-3 kilometers malungu na menshi full drought katuishi drought yaba mumutwe. Agriculture is not rain mwe bantu bapanshi mwe bantu bakwalesa bahaka inde agriculture is not rain. Agriculture is water. Let's build dams. Let's create weirs. Konso kuli akamumana ukwamenshiale pita tuachita block ngayaloka tuwapanga ka damu. Mwabantu bakwalesa. Even Zimbabwe is beating us. Mwabantu bakwalesa na papata. Limbinka fwenka afendero te fifine efi abamutu efi akutila ti agriculture is not rain because na di mono kutila ti. Abanensi ku Israel, abanensi ku Egypt, they deliver water to the roots. That's why you call drip irrigation. You have to deliver half a liter of water to a plant. Ngani tomato waipela fe kuma roots takuli kuisansa mubiri wonse. Deliver water to the roots. Let us adopt good agricultural policies. No kule kukulalila because of drought. Kanchu ule pompa kariba ule tumama right abroad ero lebe party drought ya chitikerisa taya chitike uno mwaka mwina tubepa mwina kutatoa ya kusukulu ya energy. Me am an energy economy, so I understand this topic very well. There's no one in UPND who can beat me on this. It's outright foolishness. Stop exporting electricity at the expense of our country.
Thank you so much, Ma'am, for making an appearance on KFM Radio. We look forward to hosting you again soon.
Natasha Mkwai, I hope tabashale ba misalira tina muchita host tupondo mona tupondo, but this is how we run the country. The members of the opposition are members of government. I'm a very proud member of my government, which is run by Hakainde Hichilema, because short of that, then we don't have a government.
Thank you so much, and la comforta totera sana kuba tumine mafoni na kuli wanse abasangwa na ifwe muri no program le sampale mtusho mtende.
Brooklyn's first commercial radio station, KFM. Got us on 95.5 all day, every day.
Mwache washirapa